oats in the bacon, in the bacon, fat oats in the bacon, in the bacon, fat, all tastes like bacon, fat, and it all tastes like bacon, in the bacon, oats in the bacon, in the bacon, fat oats in the bacon, in the bacon, fat, all tastes like bacon, and then you put all tastes like bacon. The mince.
Why are you putting mince?
Because then you've got the girth. That's what you're not getting. That's what you're not getting, Sam. This is what I mean. You've got the That's what you're not getting. That's what you're not getting, Sam. This is what I mean.
Well, hello there. How are we, you beautiful queechlings? It's Wednesday. It's 6:30 there or thereabouts. So you know what that means?
Oh, who's this geezer?
Who is this geezer? Who's this geezer? Oh, I better turn those sound alerts down, aren't I? There's ooh. That might throw me off my game while I'm
Who's this lemon squeezer?
Oh yeah, that's a bit nicer, isn't it? That's a bit nicer. That's a bit nicer. There we go. The book reading stream this. I can't be having fucking queeches in IMAX surround sound battering my ears while I'm trying to be all dramatic and shit, can I? So, you beautiful bastards, how is your Wednesday? How's your Wednesday been? I want to know. Let me know in the chat, what have you been up to today? It has been fucking roasting here tonight. Like, absolutely fucking roasting. It's been roasting all day. I have been dying in this house today. It's been crazy hot. But yeah, I got a cool message today. So something in the works. Loads of things in the works, actually. Like loads and loads of things in the works. So gonna be a busy Slam King in this these coming months, which is nice. Nice. You know what I mean? I'm motivated. I'm ready to go. So what have we been doing in the chat? Let's have a look. Who've we got in first, actually? Let me say hello to everyone. We've got the Stuzer, Contrarian, Azrai, Leeds J. We got Phoenix, Wash, From the Lagoon, Snow, Martin, Trooper, Eggy, Cam, Crixie, Frosty, and Dilleran. Massive love, guys. If I've missed anybody, let me know that you're here, because it doesn't always... The Queechy bot likes to withhold information from me, his fleshy master. So sometimes he doesn't let me know if you're all here. Nosset! Oi! How you doing, Nosset? So yeah, he doesn't always let me know that everyone's here. Like he didn't let me know that Nosset was here. Do you know what I mean? The Queechy bot though. He doesn't like his flesh bag of his master. Do you know what I mean? That's what he calls me. Tells me that the flesh is weak all the time.
Hi, I'm Paul Queechy. These are my erotic pasties.
From the Lagoon, got you going on 2 monitors. Double Queech! We've got Queeches coming from the left, we've got Queeches coming from the right. We're surrounded by Queeches. This truly is the Queechyverse. The multi-Queech. Eggy, your skin's looking clearer, fam. The diet and exercise is working. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I feel fucking great, I'll be honest. Lost like, I think I've lost nearly, I think it's just there or thereabouts, 1.5 stone. Like it keep it like it keeps like my weight's like varying each day. So I'm not looking at it day by day, because one day it's like, oh, I'm 3 pounds heavier than I was yesterday, but then the next day it'll be like, oh, like fuck, Now I'm £4 lighter than that. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like I'm measuring it at the end of the week, which is like, and at the end of each week, I'm losing weight. Do you know what I mean? From what I was at the beginning of the week, so that's good. So yeah, I'm just eating lots of meat. Really, I'm eating once a day. I'm having no sugar at all. Like no sugar. So I think that's definitely helping. Yeah, it's just meat. Just meat and eggs. Basically. And I'm just eating once a day. So, plenty of water. I'm drinking a lot of zero sugar drinks, but that doesn't seem to be doing fuck all to me. So, I'm losing weight. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's got like a sweet taste to it that I can have. But I'm used to cups of teas and coffee now with no sugar, which is well nice. And that's something I never thought I would like. But I love a coffee with no sugar in it now. Which is fucking weird. Leeds J, you doing a keto diet or something? I guess so. I guess so. It's just meat and eggs. Just meat and eggs. Meat and eggs. Apart from on a cheat day. On a cheat day, I'll eat whatever I want. But again, I'm only eating once. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm still sticking to the one. Like, one sitting down and eating. Like, at first, I was, like, counting calories and all that kind of shit. But now, I'm just not. I'm just eating. Just eating meat and eggs once a day. And I'm not as hungry as I was as well now. So I think, like, my appetite's, like, shifted to this. It's just adapted to this now. So I'm all right. The only time I get really, really hungry is if I can't sleep at night. And that's because, obviously, when I have eaten at tea time, it's been ages since I've eaten. So I've ended up, like, not sleeping. Like, you know, not getting off to sleep till, like, too late. And then that's when my hunger's kicked in. But, yeah, it's all right. I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. Phoenix, that's a fun journey, Slam. Did something similar 9 years ago. Slimmed down from 160 kg to 75 in 2 years and 2 days. Mostly dietary changes. Fucking amazing. Well done. Wow, sugar's a big one. I gained loads of weight in my early 20s when I drank loads of soda. Dropped it all as soon as I stopped. Yeah. I think the Coca-Cola was one of the big ones for me. The sugar was definitely one of the big ones for me. Because I was having sugar in my tea, sugar in my coffee. Like, I refused to drink, like, Diet Coke or Coke Zero. I wouldn't do it. Like, I literally refused to do it. I was like, no, it tastes horrible. I'll only drink, like, full sugar Coke. And I think, like, that's where... To be fair, though, like, my entire life, I had a very fast metabolism until I hit 30. Or just after 30. So I was like really thin, like for like most of my life. And then as soon as I got after 30, I think that's when my metabolism slowed down. And then it was like, oh, I can't eat what I want. Do you know what I mean? Because that's when I started putting on weight. So, but that's life, innit? You just have to adapt. You know what I mean? But yeah, I drink Pepsi Max, 0 sugar now. I don't even know what a Coca-Cola would taste like now. You know, a full sugar one. Like I imagine it'll be well sweet now. You know what I mean? Geezer, lemon squeezer! Lady Dragon, LD's in the house. How are you doing, LD? Also, Phoenix, I traded sugar for the gym. Now I work out 5 to 6 days a week and eat whatever I want. There you go. There you go. I've started exercising as well. When I changed my diet, I started exercising as well. So I do 50 sit-ups. I do 20 press-ups, and then I'll do like exercises with my barbell dumbbell set as well. But I'm limited as to what I can do with that really, but. it's working. Like, I'm losing weight, so I'm happy with it, man. Please, Jay, don't drink beers either. Swap that for vodka and soda water or something less in calories. Yeah, I know. I did have a couple of beers the other night when we did was it the Discord hangout? I have a couple of beers then, but they were only the dumpy ones, so it weren't. And that was my cheat day anyway, so I kind of get away with it psychologically. But I very rarely drink anyway. To be fair, very rarely. Like really, really rare that I actually drink. So, Eggy, gonna fit into that loincloth in no time. Scrolling through the chat. Tea with honey. Do you know what? I've just cold turkeyed it and gone without, and I like it now. Like, it just tastes like a cup of tea to me now. Do you know what I mean? Lady Dragon, need a health and fitness bit on Discord. Yo, if you guys want it, I'll make the channel. Like, do you know what I mean? So shoot, sir, do you have diabetes? No, I don't have diabetes. I was just putting lots and lots of weight on, and I weren't feeling great. Like, do you know what I mean? Not just like appearance wise, I mean, like, I just wasn't feeling good, like, just in general. So I just thought, right, well, time to get myself in shape and lose a bit of weight. And I already started, like, what have I been doing it for? Like a month, is it? Maybe a bit longer than a month. Is it a month? Is it even a month? I don't know, something like that. Maybe 4, maybe 5 weeks, if that. And I feel better already. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, my belly started going down and everything. That's the main bit. It's my belly that I wanted to lose. Because it's just like a bloated belly. Like, do you know what I mean? Lagoon eating lots of meat. Leeds J, totally agree with you. It's too bloody hot today. Yeah. Fucking roasting, man. Absolutely roasting. It's roasting in here. Crazy hot. Crazy hot. Right. So shoot, sir, with this diet you won't get it unless it's genetic. My granddad had diabetes, but no, I've not got diabetes, not that I'm aware of anyway. It's secretly lying dormant within me, within my mortal shell, waiting for its opportune moment to strike. Phoenix, would be fun to have a channel to trade tips and encouragement. All right, I'll do it then. I'll do it tomorrow. It should appear sometime tomorrow. Eggy, now he's feeling better, looking better, and still a massive hoon. Stop calling me a hoon. Calling me a hoon! Leeds J, did my garden this afternoon. Almost fucking melted. Fuck yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. Jesus Christ. Lady Dragon, nice top, Jace. Where's that from? Oh, well. Funny you should ask, actually. Do you know what I mean? This is a Slam King Throne t-shirt that's readily available right there on that link in the chat. The Slam King Fourth Wall, the official merch store of the Slam King. This is available. Loads of other stuff's available. Click that link. Have a peruse at your leisure. You know what I mean?
Peruse my wares. And treat yourself.
Massive thanks to Cam, by the way, for his monstrous order the other day. What a legend. Cheers, Cam. I appreciate that, dude. Massively appreciate that. Absolute ledge. Hey, much love to you. Much love to all of you guys. Seriously. Like, all of yous that sub, gift subs, like buy merch, like that stuff is literally what keeps the wheels turning for me. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys more than you will ever know. So from the bottom of my heart, like, thank you so much for all the support you give me. I love you guys. Thank you. Eggy, if you buy something from that merch store, your penis grows 3 inches. Since my last order, I'm now at 2 inches. Yeah, that's a good question actually from the Lagoon. Are we talking outwards or forwards? You know what I mean? Is it growing in circumference or length? From base to tip. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause that's important. Forwards, it's growing forwards. My penis is growing forwards. that's the new euphemism for erection now. Ah, what's happening? My penis is growing forwards. Oh. Do you know what I love as well? All this artwork on the wall behind me as well. Like this is all all fan artwork, stuff that I've been given over the years from my time touring, and then I've got artwork from you guys as well. Like this one is by Gore Crusher, this one is by Fake Bark. I love it. Do you know what I mean? This is the best community on the internet. Do you know what I mean? You guys are amazing. I fucking love it. Eggy, say Jason, where'd you get that water bottle? Hey, I'll tell you what. Look, we've got a link just for the bottle. Bosh! Look at that. We've got a link just for the bottle. Owen! Just came in to say hi. Missed the starts while we're waiting for the VOD. Oh, it's all right. We've not started the book yet, dude. We've not started the book yet. No, we've not started, dude. We've not even started. I've just been waffling, dude. I've been waffling for like 18 minutes. You're just in time, dude. You're just in time. We're starting book 3 tonight, though. Do you know what I mean? It's all going to shit. We are just having a chinwag, aren't we? Phoenix, I keep hearing butthole. When? You mean this?
What's that bumhole? Open this bumhole now.
You mean that? Oh, bottle. Oh, right. You think I'm saying butthole? Butthole. Sorry. I shall speak the Queen's English. Oh no, not the Queen. She's dead. The King's English. A bottle. A bottle. How the fuck am I supposed to say it? Bottle. I don't know what, like, a bottle. Is that how I'm... Pass me the bottle. Hey, have you got a bottle of water? Should I say it like that? Is that more acceptable? Is that more pleasing to thine ears? Sir, could you pass me a water bottle, please? Water? That's how they say water, isn't it? A bottle of water? Oh, God. Eggy, need to send you all the selfies we've all taken with you to put on that wall too. Yeah, absolutely do that. Do that. Fucking do that. I'll print them all off and I'll stick them on the wall behind me. Abso-fucking-lutely. Do that. That's a fucking great idea. Trooper! Por favor, senorita. There you go. Speaking in the mother tongue. Bit of German boy there. Eggy, I think it's hilarious the way he says Paul. What do you mean? That's how you say it, Paul. The fuck am I supposed to call it? A Paul?
Paul Queechy.
What do you mean? I'm welcome. That's fucking well confused me. Ein Flash of Wasser, bitte. I didn't know you could speak French, Trooper. That's crazy. That's amazing. That's amazing. Miss Worldwide. Check you out. Continental, that, Terra. You know what I mean? Black Moon, how you doing? Hey, Absolute, how you doing? Por favor, senor. Bringing out all the Bavarian today. You know what I mean? See? I like to make you guys feel at home. You know what I mean? Just flexing my language muscles tonight. You know what I mean? Eggy, I say Paul like pole. That's got to be like a Scottish thing, that. It's a polling station, isn't it? You know, like when you go and cast your vote. Cast your vote at the polling station. Poll, in it? Poll. It's not poll. Sure, surely not. Am I wrong? I don't mind being wrong. Phoenix, I loved your Japanese in the Discord today. Who's doing Japanese in the Discord today? Who's doing Japanese in the Discord today? Who's speaking Japanese? I wish I could speak Japanese. Skogan, how you doing, mate? Owen, nah, I say Paul like you too, mate. Northern thing in it. Yeah, see? That's the problem with Scotland. It's too north. Do you know what I mean? It's so north, they've started talking south. That's what happens. Do you know what I mean? Because the earth is a ball. So if you keep going north, you're going to end up going south, aren't you? That's how it works. That's geography, that. Maths and physics. 3 subjects in one. Be a teacher, me. Are you literally the most north, though? Or have you just not stopped walking and now started going south? That's the question you've got to ask yourself, Eggy. You know what I mean? Exactly, Owen. So far north, he's wrapped back round to the south. Exactly.
Well,
see? Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. That's literally science. And I'm not a scientist. I'm no expert. But some things just are just reality. And you can't argue with that, can you? Do you know what I mean? Oh, anyway, who's Owen? Oh, fucking hell, I forgot about that, Cecil. Sorry, Cecil. Fucking hell. My head's all gone south, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? That's what's happened. Never forget about Cecil. Never ever. Cecil and Troy. No worries, Troy. Always forgive him. Fucking Troy. Oh my god, imagine that. Imagine if I was called Troy Evans. Imagine. Maybe I'll start a hip-hop career. My stage name can be Troy Evans. Fucking hell. Jesus fucking Christ. I can't believe you call it a poll. Like the North Pole. Is that where you go to vote? Going to the North Pole. The North Polling Station. Polling station? Nah, I can't call it a polling station. This makes it sound like a knocking shop. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Can't be doing that. Oh, Skogan, I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing fucking great. But a very good day. Very good day. I mean, it's warm, but, you know. You know what I mean? Cast your vote. Breaking news. Former ingested vocalist Jason Evans begins hip-hop career under the name Big T Roy. With MC Cecil. Right. Should we? Oh, before we start the book, I still need some more entries into the Employee of the Month competition, the art competition on the Discord. So I need you to make more Jason Evans Employee of the Month. And the best one, I'll pick the best one and it'll get framed and stuck on the wall behind me. But I need some more. There was a few good ones in there. I need some more. Eggy, I want to hear proper English gentleman hip hop. Like, tally ho, you plump past women type shit. Oh, it won't be me, will it? Fucking, I'm from Manchester. No one talks like that in Manchester. Hey, Absolute. I'm sorry, Jace, for not being there so much lately. Been busy gaming myself. Hope you and the fam doing great. Dude, don't apologize for not fucking... Don't apologize, dude. It's all good. Like, do you know what I mean? No one's obliged to be here, fam. I appreciate you being here, dude. Don't apologize. You never have to apologize, fam. But... What game have you been playing? Well, yeah, me and the family are doing fucking fantastic, dude. We're all melting to death in this great British summer that we're having at the moment. But it's all right, though, because it rained all last week, so now we're owed a couple of nice days. Yes, I did see it. I did see your Employee of the Month, Eggy. I love him. I love all of them. But I need some more, though. I need some more. I want a full range to choose from, do you know what I mean? I mean, we could just change it every month and just do a different one every single month. I mean, I've got a printer, so. Claire Obscure and Night Rain lately. How is Night Rain? And I don't know what Claire Obscure is. What is Claire Obscure? Eggy, I'm forced to be here. I've been fed nothing but steak, fat, and egg whites for 8 months. Please help. Hey, Absolute, Night Rain's brutal when you have no friend. Oh, dude. I'll be your friend. Hey, Absolute. You don't have to suffer alone in Night Rain. Leeds J. You should give Lies of P a go. Oh, it's another like Souls type game, innit? I don't think I'm quite ready to step into another one of those yet. I think I want to play some low stress games for a while. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I'm quite ready for that shit yet. I want to play some shorter games as well. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, obviously when I came back and started streaming again, I jumped straight into Baldur's Gate 3, and that took 5 months to get through. And then in January, I jumped straight into... No. Fucking Baldur's Gate took like 7 months. And then I jumped into Elden Ring in January and didn't finish that until May. So that took five months as well. So I want to play some shorter games for a while, you know, so we can just get through some games a bit quicker. Do you know what I mean?
Right, come on.
Random Horus mumblings. Oh, we've got new Steam says sound files. So there is more random ones in there. There's some fucking mental ones. Like some proper fucking mental ones on the exclamation mark Steam says. The one that Nosset just did. There's some new ones in there. We've also got this one as well. I think there might be a cooldown on it though. Hang on. Let me double check. Let me double check. Steam says. Give me a minute. There's always a fucking cooldown. It does it automatically and I fucking didn't. Cooldown 3 minutes. I'll put it on 1 minute cooldown. Got a 1 minute cooldown. Yeah, that's all right. That's nice. That's nice. 1 minute cooldown on Steam says. We've also got this.
Wait, hold up, everybody. Stop the game. Everybody, just stop. Steven's found a sweet.
He does love a sweet, does our Steve. He does. He really does. All right. So, should we crack on with this? Should we open this brand new fresh book that I ordered? Look at it. Look at that. Look how crisp that is. Not a bend in sight. Look at that for a spine. Oh, look at that. Chiropractor couldn't get a spine that straight. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. We'll see how long it lasts, but here we go. Should we get stuck in? Galaxy in Flames, Book 3 of the Horus Heresy series by Ben Counter. So, before we start, let's fucking recap, shall we? So, basically, at the end of the last book, Horus revealed his true intentions to his inner circle of trusted people. So, Erebus, Abaddon, Aximand, Malagurst. Who else was there? Fulgrim's on side as well. Lorgar. So 2 Primarchs that we know. 2 of his brothers are already on side with him. And he basically turned around and said, I am going to kill the Emperor, my father the Emperor, and take his place as the new master of mankind. Loken and Torghadan don't know about this at all. Torghadan knows that some of the lodge members want to frame, well, not frame because it did happen, but he weren't the only one. But they want to throw Loken under the bus for the massacre of the Imperial civilians. So Torghadan knows that they're going to be targeting Loken. Horus had Ignis Carcasi killed and Petronella Vivar and Lord Vavarus. He had all 3 of them killed and definitely wanted Loken and Torghadan to get it as well at that time, but they didn't die. So it's all gone crazy. It's all gone fucking crazy. Your pal Cecil, I think you should bend the spine before reading the book. You think? You ready? Oh, look at that. Now it's worn in now. It's worn in. Look at that. Look at that. Now it really feels like an ancient tomb. Tome, even. Hey, oh Mateo. How you doing? Done. I mean, it's gonna get fucked anyway, innit? So may as well just get it out of the way now. Right. Martin's got this book as well. I've just seen your post in the Discord. Martin's picked this book up. He's got it. He's ready to read along. Cecil, I weren't going to be precious with it anyway, so don't worry about it. Right, should we get stuck in? Book 3. Galaxy in Flames by Ben Counter. The Heresy Revealed. Now, let's find it. Where are we getting at? Ooh, all right then. So, as always, I'll play some background music. Just let me know if it's too quiet or too loud. There we go. There we are. Right. Okay. Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited. Get comfy, everybody. Get your cup of tea. Get your glass of wine. Put your feet up. As we descend into the galaxy in flames. Part 1. Long Knives. Chapter 1. The Emperor Protects. Long Night. The Music of the Spheres. I was there, said Titus Cassar, his wavering voice barely reaching the back of the chamber. I was there the day Horus turned his face from the Emperor. His words brought a collective sigh from the Laetitio Divinatus congregation, and as one they lowered their heads at such a terrible thought. From the back of the chamber, an abandoned munitions hold deep in the underdecks of the War Master's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, Kirill Sinderman watched and winced at Cassar's awkward delivery. The man was no iterator, that was for sure, but his words carried the sure and certain faith of someone who truly believed in the things he was saying. Sinderman envied him that certainty. It had been many months since he had felt anything approaching certainty. As the primary iterator of the 63rd expedition, it was Kirill Sinderman's job to promulgate the imperial truth of the Great Crusade, illuminating those worlds brought into compliance of the rule of the Emperor and the glory of the Imperium. Bringing the light of reason and secular truth to the furthest flung reaches of the ever-expanding human empire had been a noble undertaking. But somewhere along the way, things had gone wrong. Sinderman wasn't sure when it had happened. On Zenobia? On Davin? On Arraius? Or on any one of a dozen other worlds brought into compliance. Once he had been known as the arch-prophet of secular truth. But times had changed, and he found himself remembering his Salonum, the Sumatran philosopher who had wondered why the light of new science seemed not to illuminate as far as the old sorceries had. Titus Cassar continued his droning sermon, and Sinderman returned his attention to the man. Tall and angular, Cassar wore the uniform of a Moderati Primus, one of the senior commanders of the Dies Irae, an Imperator-class battle titan. Sinderman suspected it was this rank, combined with his earlier friendship with Euphrates Keeler, that had granted his status within the Laetitio Divinatus, status that he was clearly out of his depth in handling. Euphrates Keeler, imagist, evangelist, saint. He remembered meeting Euphrates, a feisty, supremely self-confident woman, on the embarkation deck before they had left for the service of 6319, unaware of the horror they would witness in the depths of the Whisperhead Mountains. Together with Captain Loken, they had seen the warp-spawned monstrosity Xavier Jubal had been wrought into. Sinderman had struggled to rationalize what he had seen by burying himself in his books and learning to better understand what had occurred. Euphrates had no such sanctuary, and had turned to the growing Laetitio Divinatus cult for solace. Venerating the Emperor as a divine being, the cult had grown from humble beginnings to a movement that was spreading throughout the expedition fleets of the galaxy, much to the fury of the War Master. Where before the cult had lacked a focus, in Euphrates Keeler, it had found its first martyr and saint. Sinderman remembered the day when he had witnessed Euphrates Keeler stand before a nightmare horror from beyond the gates of the Empyrean and hurl it back from whence it had come. He had seen her bathed in killing fire and walk away unscathed, a blinding light streaming from the outstretched hand in which she had held a silver imperial eagle. Others had seen it too. Ing Mei Sing, mistress of the fleet's astropaths, and a dozen of the ship's armsmen. Word had spread fast, and Euphrates had become, overnight, a saint in the eyes of the faithful, and an icon to cling on to the frontier of space. He was unsure why he had even come to this meeting. Not a meeting, he corrected himself, but a service. A religious sermon. But there was a very real danger of recognition. Membership of the Laetitio Divinatus was forbidden, and if he were discovered, it would be the end of his career as an iterator. Now we shall contemplate the word of the Emperor, continued Kassar, reading from a small leather chapbook. Sinderman was reminded of the Bondsman No. 7 books in which the late Ignis Carcasi had written his scandalous poetry. Poetry that had, if Mercediolatan's suspicions were correct, caused his murder. Sinderman thought that the writings of the Laetitio Divinatus were scarcely less dangerous. We have some new faithful among us, said Kassar, and Sinderman felt every eye in the chamber turn upon him. Used to facing entire continents' worth of audience, Sinderman was suddenly acutely embarrassed by their scrutiny. When people are first drawn to adoration of the Emperor, it is only natural that they should have questions, said Kassar. They know the Emperor must be a god, for he has godlike powers over all human species. But aside from this, they are in the dark. This, at least, Sinderman agreed with. Most importantly, they ask, if the Emperor truly is a god, then what does he do with his divine power? We do not see his hand reaching down from the sky, and precious few of us are blessed with visions granted by him. So does he not care for the majority of his subjects? They do not see the falsehood of such a belief. His hand lies upon all of us, and every one of us owes him our devotion. In the depths of the warp, the Emperor's mighty soul does battle with the dark things that would break through and consume us all. On Terra, he creates wonders that will bring peace, enlightenment, and the fruition of all our dreams to the galaxy. The Emperor guides us, teaches us, and exhorts us to become more than we are. But most of all, the Emperor protects. The Emperor protects, said the congregation in unison. The faith of the Laetitio Divinatus, the divine word of the Emperor, is not an easy path to follow. Where imperial truth is comforting in its rigorous rejection of the unseen and the unknown,
The divine word requires the strength to believe in that which we cannot see. The longer we look upon this dark galaxy and live through the fires of its conquest, the more we realize that the Emperor's divinity is the only truth that can exist. We do not seek out the divine word. Instead, we hear it, and we are compelled to follow it. Faith is not a flag of allegiance or a theory for debate. It is something deep within us, complete and inevitable. The Laetitio Divinatus is the expression of that faith. And only by acknowledging the divine word can we understand the path the Emperor has laid before mankind. Fine words, thought Sinderman. Fine words. Poorly delivered, but heartfelt. He could see they had touched something deep inside those who heard it. An orator of skill could easily sway entire worlds with such words and force of belief. Before Kassar could continue, Sinderman heard sudden shouts coming from the maze of corridors that led into the chamber. He turned as a panicked woman hurled the door behind him open with a dull clang of metal. In her wake, Sinderman could hear the hard bangs of bolter rounds. The congregation started in confusion, looking to Kassar for an explanation. But the man was as nonplussed as they were. "They found you!" yelled Sinderman, realizing what was happening. "Everyone get out!" shouted Kassar. "Scatter!" Sinderman pushed his way through the panicked crowd to the front of the chamber and towards Kassar. Some members of the congregation were producing guns, and from their martial bearing, Sinderman guessed they were Imperial Army troopers. Some were clearly ship's crewmen, and Sinderman knew enough of religion to know that they would defend their faith with violence if they had to. "Come on, Iterator. It's time we got out of here," said Kassar, dragging the venerable Iterator towards one of the many access corridors that radiated from the chamber. Seeing the worry on his face, Kassar said, "Don't worry, Kirill. The Emperor protects." "I certainly hope so," replied Sinderman breathlessly. Shots echoed from the ceiling and bright muzzle flashes strobed from the walls. Sinderman threw a glance over his shoulder and saw the bulky, armoured form of Astartes entering the chamber. His heart skipped a beat at the thought of being the enemy of such warriors. Sinderman hurriedly followed Kassar into the access corridor and through a set of blast doors, their path twisting through the depths of the ship. The vengeful spirit was an immense vessel, and he had no idea of the layout of this area. Its walls grim and industrial compared to the magnificence of the upper decks. "Do you know where you're going?" wheezed Sinderman, his breath coming in hot, agonized spikes, and his ancient limbs already tiring from exertion he was scarcely used to. "Engineering," said Kassar. It's like a maze down there, and we have friends in the engine crew." "Then why can't they just let us be?" "Because they are scared of you," said Sinderman. "Just like I was."
Hey, Fake Back, how you doing?
"And you are certain of this?"
asked Horus, Primarch of the Sons of Horus Legion and War Master of the Imperium, his voice echoing around the cavernous strategium of the vengeful spirit. "As certain as I can be," said Ingmei Singh, the 63rd Expedition's mistress of astropaths.
Her face was lined and drawn, and her blind eyes were sunken with ravaged eye sockets. The demands of sending hundreds of telepathic communications across the galaxy weighed heavily on her skeletal frame. Astropathic acolytes gathered about her, robed in the same ghostly white as she, and wordlessly whispering muttered doggerel of the ghastly images in their heads.
How long do we have?
Asked Horus. As with all things connected with the warp, it is difficult to be precise, replied Ingmei Singh.
Mr. Singh,
said Horus coldly.
Precision is exactly what I need from you. Now more than ever. The direction of the crusade will change dramatically at this news. And if you are wrong, it will change for the worse.
My lord, I cannot give you an exact answer, but I believe that within days the gathering warp storms will obscure the Astronomicon from us, replied Ingmei Singh, ignoring the War Master's implicit threat. Though she could not see them, she could feel the hostile presence of the Justarian warriors, the sons of Horus's first company, lurking in the shadows of the Strategium. Within days, we shall hardly see it. Our minds can barely reach across the void, and the navigators claim they will soon be unable to guide us true. The galaxy will be a place of night and darkness. Horus pounded a hand into his fist.
Do you understand what you say? Nothing more dangerous could happen to the crusade.
I merely state what I see, War Master.
If you are wrong.
The threat was not idle. No threat the War Master uttered ever was. There had been a time when the War Master's anger would never have led to such an overt threat, but the violence in Horus's tone suggested that such a time had long passed. If we are wrong, we suffer. It has never been any different.
And my brother Primarchs? What news from them?
Asked Horus. We have been unable to confirm contact with the Blessed Sanguinius, replied Ingmei Singh. And Leman Russ has sent no word of his campaign against the Thousand Suns. Horus laughed, a harsh, chthonic bark, and said,
That doesn't surprise me. The wolf has his hair to know, not easily be distracted from teaching Magnus a lesson. And the others?
Vulcan and Dawn are returning to Terra. The other Primarchs are pursuing their current campaigns.
That is good at least,
said Horus, brow furrowing in thought.
And what of the Fabricator General?
Forgive me, War Master, but we have received nothing from Mars. We shall endeavor to make contact by mechanical means, but this will take many months. Hey, Tiny Gamer, how you doing?
You have failed in this, Singh. Coordination with Mars is essential.
Ingmei Singh had telepathically broadcast a multitude of encoded messages between the vengeful spirit and Fabricator General Kelbor Hal of the Mechanicum in the last few weeks. Although their substance was unknown to her, The emotions contained in them were all too clear. Whatever the War Master was planning, the Mechanicum was a key part of it. Horus spoke again, distracting her from her thoughts.
The other Primarchs, have they received their orders?
They have, my lord, said Ingmei Singh, unable to keep the unease from her voice. The reply from Lord Gilliman of the Ultramarines was clean and strong. They are approaching the muster at Calth and report all forces are ready to depart.
And Lorgar?
Asked Horus. Ingmei Singh paused, as if unsure how to phrase her next words. His message had residual symbols of pride and obedience. Very strong, almost fanatical. He acknowledges your attack order and is making good speed to Calth. Ingmei Singh prided herself on her immense self-control, as befitted one whose emotions had to be kept in check, lest they be changed by the influence of the warp. But even she could not keep some emotion from surfacing.
Something bothers you, Mr. Singh?
Asked Horus, as though reading her mind. My lord?
You seem troubled by my orders.
It is not my place to be troubled or otherwise, my lord, said Ingmei Singh neutrally.
Correct,
agreed Horus.
It is not. Yet you doubt the wisdom of my course.
No, cried Ingmei Singh. It is just that it is hard not to feel the nature of your communication. The weight of blood and death that each message is wreathed in. It is like breathing fiery smoke with every message we send.
You must trust me, Mr. Singh, said Horus. Trust that everything I do is for the good of the Imperium. Do you understand?
It is not my place to understand, said the Astropath. My role in the crusade is to do the will of my War Master.
That is true. But before I dismiss you, Mr. Singh, tell me something.
Yes, my lord?
Tell me of Euphrates,
said Horus.
Tell me of the one they are calling the Saint.
Oh no. Oh no. He knows about Euphrates. Well, this isn't good, is it? Oh, Cecil, I know. It's not good, is it? Oh, shit. Loken still took Mercedes Ollerton's breath away. The Astartes were astonishing enough when arrayed for war in their burnished plate, but that sight had been nothing compared to what a Space Marine, specifically Loken, looked like without his armor. All right, Mercedes. Yeah. Calm down, love. Stripped to the waist and wearing only pale fatigues and combat boots, Loken glistened with sweat as he ducked and wove between the combat appendages of a training servitor. Although few of the Remembrance had been privileged enough to witness an Astartes fight in battle, it was said that they could kill with their bare hands as Sorry, excuse me, I hiccuped them. It was said that they could kill with their bare hands as effectively as they could with a bolter and a chainsword. Watching Loken demolishing the servitor limb by limb, Mercedes could well believe it. She saw such power in his broad, over-muscled torso, and such intense focus in his sharp grey eyes that she wondered that she was not repelled by Loken. He was a killing machine, created and trained to deal death. But she couldn't stop watching and blink-clicking images of his heroic physique. Kirill Sinderman sat next to her and leaned over, saying, "Don't you have plenty of Picts of Garviel already?" Loken tore the head from the training servitor and turned to face them both, and Mercedes felt a thrill of anticipation. It had been too long since the conclusion of the war against the technocracy, and she had spent too few hours with the captain of the 10th Company. As his documentarist, she knew that she had a paucity of material following that campaign, but Loken had kept himself to himself in the past few months.
Kirill, Mercedes,
said Loken, marching past them towards his arming chamber.
It's good to see you both.
I'm glad to be here, Garviel, said Sinderman. The primary iterator was an old man, and Mercedes was sure he had aged a great deal in the year since the fire that had nearly killed him in Archive Hall's vengeful spirit. Very glad. Mercedes was kind enough to bring me. I've had a spell of exertion recently, and I'm not as fit as I once was. Time's winged chariot draws near.
A quote?
Asked Loken. Fragment, replied Sinderman.
I haven't seen much of either of you recently,
observed Loken, smiling down at her.
Have I been replaced by a more interesting subject?
Not at all, she replied. But it is becoming more and more difficult for us to move around the ship. The edict from Malagurst. You must have heard of it.
I have,
agreed Loken, lifting a piece of armor and opening a tin of his ubiquitous lapping powder.
Though I haven't studied the particulars.
The smell of the powder reminded Mercedes of happier times in this room. Recording the tales of great triumphs and wondrous sights. But she cast off such thoughts of nostalgia. We're restricted to our own quarters and the retreat. We need permission to be anywhere else.
Permission from whom?
Asked Loken. She shrugged. I'm not sure. The edict speaks of submitting requests to the office of the Lupercal's court, but no one's been able to get any kind of response from whatever that is. Slam Queen in the house? You alright, babe?
That must be frustrating,
observed Loken, and Mercedes felt her anger rise at such an obvious statement. Well, of course it is. We can't record the Great Crusade if we can't interact with its warriors. We can barely even see them, let alone talk to them.
You made it here,
Loken pointed out. Well, yes. Following you around has taught me how to keep a low profile, Captain Loken. It helps that you train on your own now. Mercedes caught the hurt look in Loken's eye and instantly regretted her words. In previous times, Loken could often be found sparring with fellow officers, the smirking Cedere, whose flinty dead eyes reminded Mercedes of an ocean predator, Nero Vipus, or his Mournival brother, Tarik Torgaden. But Loken fought alone now. By choice or by design, she didn't know. Anyway, continued Mercedes, it's getting bad for us. No one's speaking to us. We don't even know what's going on anymore.
We're on a war footing,
said Loken, putting down his armor and looking her straight in the eye.
The fleet is heading for a rendezvous. We're joining up with Astartes from the other legions. It'll be a complex campaign. Perhaps the War Master's just taking precautions.
No, Garviel, said Cinderman. It's more than just that. And I know you well enough to know that you don't believe that either.
Really?
Snarled Loken.
You think you know me that well?
Well enough, Garviel, nodded Cinderman. Well enough. They're cracking down on us. Cracking down hard. Not so everyone can see it. But it's happening. You know it too.
Do I?
Ignace Carcasi, said Mercedes. Loken's face crumpled, and he looked away, unable to hide the grief he felt for the dead Carcasi, the irascible poet who had been under his protection. Ignace Carcasi had been nothing but trouble and inconvenience. He had also been a man who had dared to speak out and tell the unpalatable truths that needed to be told. They say he killed himself, continued Cinderman, unwilling to let Loken's grief dissuade him from the course. But I've never known a man more convinced that the galaxy needed to hear what he had to say. He was angry at the massacre on the embarkation deck, and he wrote about it. He was angry with a lot of things, and he wasn't afraid to speak of them. Now he's dead. And he's not the only one.
Not the only one?
Asked Loken.
Who else?
Petronella Vivar. That insufferable documentarist woman. They say she got closer to the War Master than anyone. And now she's gone too. And I don't think it was back to Terra.
I remember her. You are on thin ice, Kirill. You need to be very clear what you are suggesting.
Cinderman did not flinch from Loken's gaze and said, I believe that those who oppose the will of the War Master are being killed. Oh shit, Cinderman. The Iterator was a frail man, but Mercedes had never been more proud to know him as he stood, unbending before a warrior of the Astartes, and told him something he did not want to hear. Cinderman paused, giving Loken ample time to refute his claims and remind them all that the Emperor had chosen Horus as the War Master because he alone could be trusted to uphold the Imperial truth. Horus was the man to whom every son of Horus had pledged his life 100 times over. But Loken said nothing, and Mercedes' heart sank. I have read of it more times than I can remember, continued Cinderman. The Uranian Chronicles, for example. The first thing those tyrants did was to murder those who spoke out against their tyranny. The overlords of the Indonesian Dark Age did the same thing. Mark my words. The age of strife was made possible when the doubting voices fell silent. And now, it is happening here.
You've always taught temperance, Kirill,
said Loken.
Weighing up arguments and never leaping past them into guesswork. We're at war, and we have plenty of enemies already without you seeking to find new ones. It will be very dangerous for you, and you may not like what you find. I do not wish to see you come to any harm. Either of you.
Now you lecture me, Garfield, sighed Cinderman. So much has changed. You're not just a warrior anymore, are you?
And you are not just an iterator.
No. I suppose not, nodded Cinderman. An iterator promulgates the imperial truth, does he not? He does not pick holes in it and spread rumors. But Carcasey is dead, and there are other things.
What things?
Asked Loken.
You mean Keeler?
Perhaps, said Cinderman, shaking his head. I don't know. But I feel she is part of it.
Part of what?
You heard what happened in the archive chamber.
With Euphrates? Yes. It was a fire and she was badly hurt. She ended up in a coma.
I was there, said Cinderman. Kirill, said Mercedes, a note of warning in her voice. Please, Mercedes, said Cinderman. I know what I saw.
What did you see?
Asked Loken. Lies, replied Cinderman, his voice hushed. Lies made real. A creature. Something from the warp. Somehow Keeler and I brought it through the gates of the Empyrean with the Book of Lorgar. My own damn fault, too. It was sorcery. One thing that all these years I've been preaching is a lie. But it was real. And was standing before me as surely as I stand before you now. Should have killed us. But Euphrates stood against it and lived.
How?
Asked Loken. Well, that's the part where I run out of rational explanations, Garfield, shrugged Cinderman.
Well, what do you think happened?
Cinderman exchanged a glance with Mercedes, and she willed him not to say anything more. But the venerable iterator continued. When you destroyed poor Jubal, it was with your guns. But Euphrates was unharmed. All she had was her faith. Her faith in the Emperor. I think it was the light of the Emperor that cast the horror back into the warp. Hearing Kirill Cinderman talk of faith and the light of the Emperor was too much for Mercedes. Kirill, she said, there must be some other explanation. Even what happened to Jubal wasn't beyond physical possibilities. The War Master himself told Loken that the thing that took Jubal was some kind of xeno creature from the warp. I've listened to you teach about how minds have been twisted by magic and superstition, and all the things that blind us to reality. That's what the Imperial truth is. I can't believe that the iterator Kirill Cinderman doesn't believe the Imperial truth anymore. Believe, my dear, said Cinderman, smiling bleakly and shaking his head. Maybe belief is the biggest lie. In ages past, the earliest philosophers tried to explain the stars in the sky and the world around them. One of them conceived of the notion that the universe was mounted on giant crystal spheres controlled by a giant machine, which explained the movements of the heavens. Well, he was laughed at, and told that such a machine would be huge and noisy that everybody would hear it. He simply replied that we are born with that noise all around us, and that we are so used to hearing it that we cannot hear it at all. Mercedes sat beside the old man and wrapped her arms around him, surprised to find that he was shivering, and his eyes were wet with tears. I'm starting to hear it, Garviel, said Sinderman, his voice quavering. I can hear the music of the spheres. Yo, Jeski's fella. You on your last shift tonight? Woo! Sick, dude. Almost there, buddy. Almost there. Oh. Got a bit emotional, to be honest. So good to hear the big guy reading one of my fave books. Hell yeah. We're still on chapter 1, dude. Mercedes watched Loken's face as he stared at Sinderman, seeing the quality of intelligence and the integrity Sinderman had recognized in him. The Astartes had been taught that superstition was the death of the Empire, and only the imperial truth was a reality worth fighting for. Now, before her very eyes, that was unraveling.
Varus was killed,
said Loken at last.
Deliberately. By one of our bolts.
Hector Varus? The army commander? Asked Mercedes. I thought that was the Eurasians.
No,
said Loken.
it was one of ours.
Why? She asked.
He wanted us, I don't know, hauled before a court-martial. Brought to task for the killings on the embarkation deck. Malagurst wouldn't agree. Varus wouldn't back down. And now he's dead.
Then it's true, sighed Sinderman. The naysayers are being silenced.
There are still a few of us left,
said Loken, quiet steel in his voice. Then we do something about it, Garviel, said Sinderman. We must find out what has been brought into this legion and stop it. We can fight it, Loken. We have you. We have the truth. And there is no reason why we cannot... The sound that cut off Sinderman's voice was the door to the practice deck slamming open, followed by heavy metal-on-metal footsteps. Mercedes knew it was an Astartes even before the impossibly huge shadow fell over her. She turned to see the cursive form of Malagurst behind her, robed in a cream tunic edged in sea green trim. The War Master's equerry, Malagurst, was known as the Twisted, as much for his labyrinthine mind as the horrible injuries that had broken his body and left him grotesquely malformed. His face was thunder, and anger seemed to bleed from him.
Loken,
he said.
These are civilians. Girl Sinderman and Mercedes Ollerton are official remembrances of the Great Crusade. and I can vouch for them,
said Loken, standing to face Malagurst as an equal. Malagurst spoke with Horus's authority, and Mercedes marveled at what it must take to stand up to such a man.
Perhaps you are unaware of the War Master's edict, Captain,
said Malagurst, the pleasant neutrality of his tone completely at odds with the tension that crackled between the two Astartes.
These clerks and notaries have caused enough trouble. You, of all people, should understand that. There are to be no distractions, Loken, and no exceptions.
Loken stood face to face with Malagurst, and for one sickening moment, Mercedes thought he was about to strike the equerry.
We're all doing the work of the Great Crusade, Mal,
said Loken tightly.
Without these men and women, it cannot be completed. Civilians do not fight, Captain. They only question and complain. They can record everything they desire once the war has been won, and they can spread the Imperial truth once we have conquered a population that needs to hear it. Until then, they are not a part of this crusade.
No, Malagurst, said Loken. You're wrong, and you know it. The Emperor did not create the Primarchs and the Legions so they could fight on in ignorance. He did not set out to conquer the galaxy just for it to become another dictatorship.
The Emperor,
said Malagurst, gesturing towards the door,
is a long way from here.
A dozen soldiers marched into the training halls, and Mercedes recognized uniforms of the Imperial Army, but saw that their badges of unit and rank had been removed. With a start, she also recognized one face, the icy, golden-eyed features of Petronella Vivar's bodyguard. She recalled that his name was Magard, and was amazed at the sheer size of the man, his physique bulky and muscled beyond that of the army soldiers who accompanied him. The exposed flesh of his muscles bore freshly healing scars, and his face displayed a nascent gigantism similar to Loken's. He stood out amongst the uniformed army soldiers, and his presence only led credence to Cinderman's wild theory that Petronella Vivar's disappearance had nothing to do with her returning to Terra.
Take the Iterator and the Remembrancer back to their quarters,
said Malagurst.
Post guards and ensure that there are no more breaches.
Magard nodded and stepped forwards. Mercedes tried to avoid him, but he was quick and strong, grabbing her by the scruff of her neck and hauling her towards the door. Cinderman stood of his own accord and allowed himself to be led away by the other soldiers. Malagurst stood between Loken and the door. If Loken wanted to stop Magard and his men, he would have to go through Malagurst.
Captain Loken,
called Cinderman as he was marched off the practice deck.
if you wish to understand more, read the Chronicles of Ursh again. There you will find illumination.
Mercedes tried to look back. She could see Loken beyond Malagurst's robed form, looking like a caged animal ready to attack. The door slammed shut, and Mercedes stopped struggling as Magard led her and Cinderman back towards their quarters.
Right, that's the end of chapter 1. Fucking hell! Holy shit. Hey, the drink. How you doing, mate? Well. Well. Ooh. Yeah. Slam Queen. I'd love a cup of tea, please, babe, if you're brewing up. If you only if you're brewing up. You know what I mean? I'm not a monster. So, before we continue, we'll read another chapter tonight. But before we continue,
Ooh, I'd love a brew.
whoa, I would love a brew. So, let's have a little chat about what's just happened. So that's the end of chapter 1, and shit is going down. Horus is different. Horus is not the Horus we know. Clearly. He's threatening people. He's bringing in these fucking tyrannical fucking rules with regards to Imperial citizens that are on the ship. Do you know what I mean? So none of the remembrances, none of them, are allowed to fraternize with any Astartes anymore. Clearly, especially not Loken. Not even the iterators. Not even Loken's personal documentarist. She's not even allowed. Horus is threatening his crew. Like, implicitly as well. Obviously, like, overtly threatening them. Ing Mei Sing as well. Who's the mistress of his astropath team. The psychers who guide them through the warp. The psychers who send messages to all other fucking... They send psychic messages to other expedition fleets, other Primarchs, back to Terra as well, to the Emperor. Do you know what I mean? And he's threatening her. He's basically going, if you don't fucking sort this out, I'll fucking kill you. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is not the Horus that we knew. He's angry. He's violent. He's also a fucking demigod, like, which is like, do you know what I mean? He's a fucking Primarch. Being threatened by a fucking Space Marine's bad enough. But being threatened by a fucking Primarch, he'd just fucking crush you. With, like, he could kill you with a flick. Like, do you know what I mean? Big Horus. Bad. It's bad. And then you got Malagurst, who's basically like... Well, he's just come in and fucking... had fucking Kirill and Mercedes just marched off. Back to their quarters. Confined to quarters as well. With a guard posted up. But what's Loken gonna do? Attack Malagurst? You can't do that. It's a death sentence. You can't attack Malagurst. Well, you can't attack him because he's a Space Marine, he's a brother. Like, you can't attack other Space Marines, that's not allowed. But he wanted to. But he can't. Because it's not... Malagurst isn't just a Space Marine. He's the War Master's equerry. So what he says goes. So it's clear that Loken isn't in the Mournival anymore. Or if he is, like, the Mournival doesn't exist like it did. He's no longer in Horus's inner circle. Do you know what I mean? Oh, yes. Cheers, babe. Thanks, babe. Love you. So, yeah. Loken has clearly been cast out from Horus's circle. But what's also weird that I noticed is Loken's always alone. Where's Torg? Where's Torgadon? Where's Nero? Where's Vipus and fucking Torgadon? Why is he not with them? It explicitly said Loken is always alone. Whereas he used to always be with Torgadon and Nero Vipus. He is always alone. So what, like, why is that? Do you know what I mean? Cecil, your voice for him has changed slightly too, and I appreciate that little detail. Yeah, I wanted to make him sound more dark, if you know what I mean. More aggressive in his tone. Because before he was like, my voice for him was very deep and bombastic because he was relying on his charisma. Do you know what I mean? That's what he was relying on. He was always using his charisma to win people over, to get them over to his way of thinking. And you know what I mean? He wanted people to love him. Now he just clearly doesn't give a fuck. Now it's like he's using the implicit threat of violence and fear. So I thought I'd change his voice to be more in line with his behavior, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? I just thought it would suit him a bit more. More ominous. Yeah, Snow. More ominous. More like he is threatening you with every word. I want everything that he says, no matter how innocuous, to sound like it comes with a thinly veiled threat of extreme violence. Do you know what I mean? Like, no matter what it is that he's saying, I want it to always sound like it's going to be a threat just by his voice. Because he doesn't give a shit about winning people over with his charisma anymore. Now he's just like, fucking do this, or I'm gonna fucking kill you. Because I think he's got a taste for it now. Do you know what I mean? Now he's just gone, well, I can do this. Do you know what I mean? Why put in all the effort? Why put in all the, you know, the plays that he used to do? You know, when he'd get like someone in the Mournival to suggest what he was really thinking and win people round that way, and you know, the whole charisma, the whole charade of what he used to do. Like, he doesn't give a fuck anymore. He knows what he's gonna do. He knows what he wants to do. He knows what his intention is, and he doesn't give a fuck anymore now. Clearly. And Cinderman's noticed it. Not like in the personality of Horus, because he probably hasn't even seen him. But in the events that have been happening. People who disagree with Horus are either disappearing or dying. And Kirill's not a stupid man. Do you know what I mean? And Loken's not stupid either. He just didn't want it. Do you know what I mean? Saying out loud, basically. That's what that whole thing was there. Because you could tell. Because when Kirill said it, Loken was like, be careful with what you're saying. And I don't think he was like saying it like as a threat to Kirill. I think he genuinely means like, be fucking careful what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? Like look at what's happening. Just be careful with what you're saying. Because he knows, because when Kirill said, you know it too. And he didn't even fucking say anything. Loken didn't say anything because he knows. But he can't be fucking heard saying it. Because then he's on the chopping block. Do you know what I mean?
I think Loken was in denial about it, but he knows that it's true. Do you know what I mean? Like, deep down, he knows exactly what's going on.
Or he was at least thinking it. But yeah. This is a different Horus. Oh, Mateo, hi, can Scar call? No, she's not got a phone at the moment. Theo, she's not got a phone at the moment. She had it took off her for being cheeky. So maybe tomorrow. Yeah, see if she behaves. But yeah, this is exciting. Seeing this different Horus, exactly how he is. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's always who he's been. I don't think that at all. I think he genuinely was a good person before. I just think that whatever he saw in the warp and certain other machinations that have been happening in the Imperium, you know what I mean? I think that has had a massive, I think it's all like a domino effect. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a lot of things, and that was that experience he had in the warp where Erebus was there and Magnus was there. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think he's always been a bad person. I don't think this is like, oh, this is the real Horus. I think he's just changed. I think things have changed. Things have happened, and he's seen things, or the possibility of things, and that has changed him fundamentally. If you know what I mean. But we do have the new Horus. So shall we continue? Shall we continue with chapter 2? We'll read another chapter tonight. Okay. Chapter 2. Perfection. Iterator. What we do best. Perfection. The dead greenskins were a testament to it. Deep Orbital DS-191 had been conquered in a matchless display of combat. Fields of fire overlapping like dancers' fans. Squads charging in to slaughter the orcs that the guns could not finish. Squad by squad, room by room, the Emperor's children had killed their way through the Xenos holding the space station with all the handsome perfection of combat that Fulgrim had taught his legion. As the warriors of his company dispatched any surviving greenskins, Saul Tarvitz removed his helmet and immediately recoiled at the stench. The greenskins had inhabited the orbital for some time, and it showed. Fungal growths pulsed on the dark metal struts of the main control center, and crude shrines of weapons, armor, and tribal fetishes were piled against the command posts. Above him, the transparent dome of the control center looked onto the void of space. The Kalanides system, a collection of imperial worlds under attack by the greenskins, was visible amid the froth of stars. Capturing the orbital back from the orcs was the first stage in the imperial relief of Kalanides,
and the Emperor's children and Iron Hands legions would soon be storming into the enemy strongholds on Kalanides IV. "What a stink," said a voice behind Tarvitz, and he turned to see Captain Lucius, the finest swordsman of the Emperor's children. His compatriot's armor was spattered black, and his elegant sword still crackled with the blood sizzling on its blue-hot blade. "Damned animals. They don't have the sense to roll over and die when you kill them." Lucius's face had once been perfectly flawless, an echo of Fulgrim's Legion itself, but now, after one too many jibes about how he looked more like a pampered boy than a warrior, and the influence of Serena De Angelis, Lucius had started to acquire scars, each one uniform and straight in a perfect grid across his face. No enemy blade had etched them into his face, for Lucius was far too sublime a warrior to allow a mere enemy to mark his features. "They're tough, I'll give him that," agreed Tarvitz. "They may be tough, but there's no elegance to their fighting," said Lucius. "There's no sport in killing them." "You sound disappointed." "Well, of course I am. Aren't you?" asked Lucius, jabbing his sword through a dead greenskin and carving a curved pattern on its back. "How can we achieve ultimate perfection with such poor specimens to better ourselves against?" "Don't underestimate the greenskins," said Tarvitz. "These animals invaded a compliant world and slaughtered all the troops we left to defend it. They have spaceships and weapons we don't understand, and they attack as if war is some kind of religion to them." He turned over the closest corpse, a massive brute with skin as tough as gnarled bark, his violent red eyes open, and its undershot maw still grimacing with rage. Only the spread of entrails beneath suggested it was dead at all. Tarvitz could almost feel the jarring of his broadsword as he had plunged it through the creature's midriff, and its tremendous strength as it had tried to force him onto his knees. "You talk about them as if we need to understand them before we can kill them. They're just animals," said Lucius with a sardonic laugh. "You think about things too much. That's always been your problem, Saul. And it's why you'll never reach the dizzying heights I will achieve. Come on. Just revel in the kill." Tarvitz opened his mouth to respond, but he kept his thoughts to himself as Lord Commander Eidolon strode into the control center. "Fine work, Emperor's children," shouted Eidolon. As one of Fulgrim's chosen, Eidolon had the honor of being within the tight circle of officers who surrounded the Primarch and represented the Legion's finest artistry of war. Although it was not bred into him to dislike a fellow Astartes, Tarvitz had little respect for Eidolon. His arrogance did not befit a warrior of the Emperor's children, and the antagonism between them had only grown on the fields of murder in the war against the mega-arachnids. Despite Tarvitz's reservations, Eidolon carried a powerful natural authority about him, accentuated by magnificent armor with such an overabundance of gilding that the purple colors of the Legion were barely visible. The vermin didn't know what hit them. The Emperor's children cheered in response. It had been a classic victory for the Legion, hard, fast, and perfect. The Greenskins had been doomed from the start. "Make ready," shouted Eidolon, "to receive your Primarch." The cargo depths of the deep orbital were rapidly cleared of the greenskin dead by the Legion's menials, for a portion of the Kalanides battle force to assemble. Tarvitz felt his pulse race at the thought of setting eyes on his beloved Primarch once more. It had been too long since the Legion had fought alongside their leader. Hundreds of Emperor's children in perfectly dressed ranks stood to attention, a magnificent army in purple and gold. As magnificent as they were but a poor imitation of the incredible warrior who was father to them all. The Primarch of the Emperor's children was awe-inspiring. His face pale and sculpted, framed by a flowing mane of albino white hair. His very presence was intoxicating, and Tarvitz felt a fierce pride fill him at the sight of this incredible, wondrous warrior. Created to echo a facet of war, Fulgrim's art was the pursuit of perfection through battle, and he sought it as diligently as an imagist strove for perfection through his Picts. One shoulder of his golden armor was worked into a sweeping eagle's wing, the symbol of the Emperor's children, and the symbolism was a clear statement of Legion pride. The eagle was the Emperor's personal symbol, and he had granted the Emperor's children alone the right to bear that same heraldry, symbolically proclaiming Fulgrim's warriors as his most adored legion. Fulgrim wore a golden hilted sword at his hip, said to have been a gift from the War Master himself, a clear sign of the bond of brotherhood between them. The officers of the Primarch's inner circle flanked him: Lord Commander Eidolon, Apothecary Fabius, Chaplain Carmosian, and the massive dreadnought body of ancient Rylanor. Even these heroes of the Legion were dwarfed by Fulgrim's physical size and his sheer charisma. A line of heralds chosen from amongst the young initiates. A line of heralds chosen from among the young initiates, who were soon to complete their training as Emperor's children, fanned out in front of Fulgrim, playing a blaring fanfare on their golden trumpets to announce the arrival of the most perfect warrior in the galaxy. A thunderous roar of applause swelled from the assembled Emperor's children as they welcomed their Primarch back to his legion. Fulgrim waited graciously for the applause to die down. More than anything, Tarvitz aspired to be that awesome golden figure in front of them, though he knew he had already been designated as a line officer, and nothing more. But Fulgrim's very presence filled him with the promise that he could be so much better if he only was given the chance. His pride in his legion's prowess caught light as Fulgrim looked over the assembled warriors, and the Primarch's dark eyes shone as he acknowledged each and every one of them. "My brothers," called Fulgrim, his voice lilting and golden. "This day, you have shown the accursed greenskin what it means to stand against the children of the Emperor." More applause rolled around the cargo decks, but Fulgrim spoke over it, his voice easily cutting through the clamor of his warriors. "Commander Eidolon has wrought you into a weapon against which the greenskin had no defense. Perfection, strength, resolve. These qualities are the cutting edge of this legion, and you have shown them all here today. This orbital is in Imperial hands once more, as are the others that greenskins had occupied in the futile hope of fending off our invasion. The time has come to press home this attack against the greenskins and liberate the Kalanides system. My brother Primarch, Ferrus Manus, of the Iron Hands, and I shall see to it that not a single alien stands upon land claimed in the name of the Crusade. Expectation was heavy in the air as the Legion waited for the order that would send them into battle with their Primarch. But most of you, my brothers, will not be there, said Fulgrim. The crushing disappointment Tarvitz felt was palpable, for the Legion had been sent to the Kalanides system with the assumption that it would lend its full strength to the destruction of the invading Xenos. The Legion will be divided, continued Fulgrim, raising his hands to stem the cries of woe and lamentation that his words provoked. I will lead a small force to join Ferrus Manus and his Iron Hands at Kalanides IV. The rest of the Legion will rendezvous with the War Master's 63rd expedition at the Istvan system. These are the orders of the War Master and of your Primarch. Lord Commander Eidolon will lead you to Istvan, and he will act in my stead until I can join you once more. Tarvitz glanced at Lucius, unable to read the expression on the swordsman's face at the news of their new orders. Conflicting emotions warred within Tarvitz, aching loss to be parted from his Primarch once more, an excited anticipation at the thought of fighting alongside his comrades in the Sons of Horus. Commander, if you please, said Fulgrim, gesturing Eidolon to step forwards. Eidolon nodded and said, The War Master has called upon us to aid his legion in battle once more. He recognizes our skills, and we welcome the chance to prove our superiority. We are to halt a rebellion in the Istvan system, but we are not to fight alone. As well as his own legion, the War Master has seen fit to deploy the Death Guard and the World Eaters. A muttered gasp spread around the cargo bay at the mention of such brutal legions. Eidolon chuckled. I see. Some of you remember fighting alongside our brother Astartes. We all know what a grim and artless business war becomes in the hands of such men. So I say this is the perfect opportunity to show the War Master how the Emperor's chosen fight. The Legion cheered once more, and Tarvitz knew that whenever the Emperor's children had a chance to prove their skill in artistry, especially to the other legions, they took it. Fulgrim had turned pride into a virtue, and it drove each warrior of his legion to heights of excellence that no other could match. Torgadon had called it arrogance, and on the surface of murder Tarvitz had tried to dissuade him of that notion. But hearing the boastful cries of the Emperor's children around him, he wasn't sure that his friend had been wrong after all. The War Master has requested our presence immediately, shouted Eidolon through the cheering. Although Istvan is not far distant, the conditions in the warp have become more difficult. We must all make haste. The strike cruiser Andronius will leave for Istvan in 4 hours. When we arrive, it will be as ambassadors for our legion. And when the battle is done, the War Master will have witnessed war at its most magnificent. Eidolon saluted and Fulgrim led the applause before turning and taking his leave. Tarvitz was stunned. To commit such a force of Astartes was rare, and he knew that whatever foe they would face on Istvan must be mighty indeed. Even the thrill of excitement he felt at this opportunity to prove themselves before the War Master was tempered by a sudden, nagging sense of unease. 4 legions? Asked Lucius, echoing his own thoughts as the squads fell out to make ready for the journey to join the 63rd expedition. For one system? That's absurd. Careful, Lucius. You veer close to arrogance, Tarvitz pointed out. You questioning the War Master's decision? Questioning? No, said Lucius defensively. Come on. Even you have to admit it's a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Possibly, conceded Tarvitz. But for the Isvan system to rebel, must have been compliant at one stage. What's your point? My point, Lucius, is that the Crusade was supposed to be pushing ever outwards, conquering the galaxy in the name of the Emperor. Instead, it's turning back on itself to patch up the cracks. I can only assume that the War Master wants to make some kind of grand gesture to show his enemies what rebellion means. Ungrateful bastards, spat Lucius. Once we're done with Istvan, they'll beg us to take them back. With 4 legions sent against them, replied Tarvitz, I don't think there'll be many Isvanians left for us to take back. Come, Saul, said Lucius, walking ahead of him. Did you lose your taste for battle against the Greenskins? A taste for battle? Tarvitz had never considered such an idea. He had always fought because he wanted to become more than he was, to strive for perfection in all things. For longer than he could remember, he had devoted himself to the task of emulating the warriors of the Legion who were more gifted and more worthy than he. He knew his station within the Legion, but knowing one's station was the first step to bettering it. Watching Lucius's arrogant swagger, Tarvitz was reminded of how much his fellow captain loved battle. Lucius loved it without shame or apology, seeing it as the best way to express himself, weaving between his enemies and cutting a path of bloody ruin through them with his flashing sword. Just concerns me, said Tarvitz. What does? Asked Lucius, turning back to face him. Tarvitz could see the hastily masked exasperation on the swordsman's face. He had seen that expression more and more on Lucius's scarred features recently, and it saddened him to know that the swordsman's ego and rampant ambition to rise within the ranks of the Emperor's children would be the undoing of their friendship. That the Crusade has to repair itself at all. Compliance used to be the end of it. Not now. Don't worry, smiled Lucius. Once a few of these rebel worlds get a decent killing, this will all be over and the Crusade will go on. Rebel worlds. Whoever thought to hear such a phrase? Tarvitz said nothing, as he considered the sheer numbers of Astartes that would be converging on the Istvan system. Hundreds of Astartes had fought on deep orbital DS-191, but more than 10,000 Emperor's children made up the Legion, most of whom would be journeying to Istvan 3. That in itself was enough for several war zones. The thought of 4 legions arrayed in battle sent shivers up Tarvitz's spine. What would be left of Istvan when 4 legions had marched through the system? Could any depths of rebellion really justify that? I just want victory, said Tarvitz, the words sounding hollow even to him. Lucius laughed, but Tarvitz couldn't tell if it was in agreement or mockery. Being confined to his quarters was the most exquisite torture for Kirill Sinderman. Without the library of books he was used to consulting in Archive Chamber 3, he felt quite adrift. His own library, though extensive by any normal standards, was a paltry thing next to the arcana that had been destroyed in the fire. How many priceless, irreplaceable tomes had been lost in the wake of the warp beast he and Euphrates had conjured up from the pages of the Book of Lorgar? It did not bear thinking about, and he wondered how much the future would condemn them for the knowledge that had been lost there. He had already filled thousands of pages with those fragments he could remember from the books he had consulted. Most of it was fragmentary and disjointed. He knew that the task of recalling everything he had read was doomed to failure, but he could no more conceive of giving up than he could stop his heart from beating. His gift, and the gift of the crusade to the ages yet to come, was the accumulated wisdom of the galaxy's greatest thinkers and warriors. With the broad shoulders of such knowledge to stand upon, who knew what dizzying heights of enlightenment the Imperium might reach? His pen scratched across the page, recalling the philosophies of the Hellenic writers and their early debates on the nature of divinity. No doubt many would think it pointless to transcribe the writings of those long dead, but Sindaman knew that to ignore the past was to doom the future to repeat it. The text he wrote spoke of the ineffable inscrutability of false gods, and he knew that such mysteries were closer to the surface than he cared to admit. The things he had seen and read since 6319 had stretched his skepticism to the point where he could no longer deny the truth of what was plainly before him, and which Euphrates Keeler had been trying to tell them all. Gods existed, and in the case of the Emperor, moved amongst them. He paused for a moment, as the full weight of that thought wrapped itself around him like a comforting blanket. The warmth and ease such simple acceptance gave him was like a panacea for all the ills that had troubled him like this last year, and he smiled as his pen idly scratched across the page before him without his conscious thought. Sindaman started as he realized that the pen was moving across the page of its own volition. He looked down to see what was being written. She needs you. Cold fear gripped him, but even as it rose, it was soothed, and a comforting state of love and trust filled him. Images filled his head unbidden. The War Master strong and powerful in his newly forged suit of black plate armor, the amber eye glowing like a coal from the furnace. Claws slid from the War Master's gauntlets, and an evil red glow built from his gorget, illuminating his face with ghastly demonic light. No, breathed Sindaman, feeling a great and unspeakable horror fill him at this terrible vision. But no sooner had this image filled his head than it was replaced by one of Euphrates Keeler lying supine on her Medicaid bed. Terrified thoughts were banished at the sight of her, and Sindaman felt his love for this beautiful woman fill him as a pure and wondrous light. Even as he smiled in rapture, the vision darkened, and yellow talons slid into view, tearing at the image of Euphrates. Sindaman screamed in sudden premonition. Once again, he looked at the words on the page, marveling at their desperate simplicity. She needs you. Someone was sending him a message. The saint was in danger. Oh no. Oh shit. Smashed my elbow then. That was nice. It wasn't ideal. It hurt. You alright, bro pact? Coordinating a legion's assets, its Astartes, its spacecraft, staff, and accompanying Imperial army units was truly a Herculean task. Managing to coordinate the arrival of 4 legions at the same place at the same time was an impossible task. Impossible for anyone but the War Master. The vengeful spirit, its long, flat prow like the tip of a spear, slid from the warp in kaleidoscopic display of pyrotechnics, lightning raking along its sides as the powerful warp integrity fields took the full force of re-entry. In the interstellar distance, the closest star of the Istvan system glinted, cold and hard against the blackness. The eye of Horus glared from the top of the ship's prow, the entire vessel having been refitted following the victory against the technocracy, the bone white of the lunar wolves replaced by the metallic grey-green of the sons of Horus. Within moments, another ship broke through, tearing its way into real space with the brutal functionality of its legion. Where the vengeful spirit had a deadly grace to it, the newcomer was brutish and ugly, its hull a drab gunmetal grey, its only decoration a single brazen skull on its prow. The vessel was the Endurance, capital ship of the Death Guard fleet accompanying the War Master, and a flotilla of smaller cruisers and escorts flew in its wake. All were the same embellished gunmetal, but nothing in Mortarian's legion bore any more adornment than was necessary. Several hours later, the powerful stabbing form of the Conqueror broke through to join the War Master. Shimmering with the white and blue colours of the World Eaters, the Conqueror was Angron's flagship, and its blunt, muscular form echoed the legendary ferocity of the World Eater's Primarch. Finally, the Andronius, at the head of the Emperor's Children's fleet, joined the growing Istvan strike force. The vessel itself was resplendent in purple and gold, more like a flying palace than a ship of war. Its appearance was deceptive, however, for the gun decks bristled with weapons manned by well-drilled menials who lived and died to serve Fulgrim's legion. The Andronius, for all its decorative folly, was a compact, lethal weapon of war. The Great Crusade had rarely seen a fleet of such power assembled in one place. Until now, only the Emperor had commanded such a force. But his place was on distant Terra, and these legions answered only to the War Master. So it was that 4 legions gathered and turned their eyes towards the Istvan system. The klaxons announcing the vengeful spirit's translation back to real space were the spur to action that Kirill Sinderman had been waiting for. Mopping his brow with an already moist handkerchief, he pushed himself to his feet and made his way to the shutter of his quarters. He took a deep, calming breath as the shutter rose and he was confronted by the hostile stares of 2 army soldiers, their starched uniforms insignia-free and anonymous. "Can I help you, sir?" asked a tall man with a cold, unhelpful expression. "Yes," said Sinderman, his voice perfectly modulated to convey his non-threatening affability. "I need to travel to the Medicaid deck." "You don't look sick," said the second guard. Sinderman chuckled, reaching out to touch the man's arm like a kindly grandfather. No. It's not me, my boy. It's a friend of mine. She's rather ill, and I promised that I would look in on her." "Sorry," said the first guard, in a tone that suggested he was anything but. "We've got orders from the Astartes not to let anyone off this deck." "I see, I see," sighed Sinderman, letting a tear trickle from the corner of his eye. I don't want to be an inconvenience, my boys, but my friend, well, she's like a daughter to me, you see. She's very dear to me, and you would be doing an old man a very real favor if you could just let me see her.
Don't think so, sir, said the guard.
But Cinderman could already detect a softening in his tone, and pushed a little harder. She has not long left to her, and I was told by Malagurst himself that I would be allowed to see her before the end. Using Malagurst's name was a gamble, but it was a calculated gamble. These men were unlikely to have any formal channel to contact the War Master's equerry. But if they decided to check, he would be unmasked. Cinderman kept his voice low and soft as he played the grandfatherly role, utilizing every trick he had learned as an iterator. The precise timbre of his voice, the frailty of his posture, keeping eye contact and empathy with his audience. Do you have children, my boy? Asked Cinderman, reaching out to clasp the guard's arm.
Yes, sir, I do.
Then you understand why I have to see her, pressed Cinderman, risking the more direct approach and hoping that he had judged these men correctly.
Just going to the Medicaid deck?
Asked the guard. No further, promised Cinderman. I just need some time to say my goodbyes to her. That's all. Please. The guards exchanged glances, and Cinderman fought to keep the smile from his face as he knew he had them. The first soldier nodded, and they moved aside to let him pass.
Just a Medicaid deck, old man,
said the guard, scrawling on a chip that would allow him passage through the ship to the Medicaid deck and back.
You're not back in your quarters in a couple of hours. I'll be dragging you back here myself.
Cinderman nodded, taking the proffered chit and shaking both men warmly by the hand. You're good soldiers, boys, he said, his voice dripping with gratitude. Good soldiers. I'll be sure to tell Malagurst of your compassion for an old man. He turned quickly so they didn't see the relief on his face and hurried away down the corridor towards the Medicaid deck. The companionways echoed with their emptiness as he made his way through the twisting maze of the ship. An idiot smile plastered across his puffing features. Entire worlds had fallen under the spell of his oratory, and here he was smiling about duping two simple-minded guards to let him out of his room. How the mighty had fallen. Fucking Kirill, man. Just rolled a natural 20 on his charisma check there. On his persuasion.
What a fucking legend.
Kirill Cinderman for president, everybody. He's sick. He's sick, Kirill, isn't he?
Is there any more news on Vivarus?
Asked Loken, as he and Torgadon walked through the Museum of Conquest on their way to the Lupercal's court. Torgadon shook his head. Shells were too fragmented. Apothecary Vadon wouldn't be able to make a match even if we found the weapon that fired the shot. Was one of ours. That's all we know. The museum was brimming with artifacts won from the Legion's many victories, for the Lunar Wolves had brought a score of worlds into compliance. A grand statue dominating one wall recalled the days when the Emperor and Horus had fought side by side in the first campaigns of the Great Crusade. The Emperor, sword in hand, fought off slender masked aliens, while Horus, back to back with his father, blazed away with a bolt gun. Beyond the statue, Loken recognized a display of bladed insectoid limbs. A blend of metallic and biological flesh rested from the mega-arachnids on Murder. Only a few of these trophies had been won after Horus's investiture as War Master, the majority having been taken before the Lunar Wolves had been renamed the Sons of Horus in honor of the War Master's accomplishments.
The remembrances are next,
said Loken.
They're asking too many questions. Some of them may have already been murdered.
Ew.
Ignis and Petronella Vivar.
Garcese, said Torgden.
Damn. I'd heard he'd killed himself. Should have known they'd find a way to do it. The Warrior Lodge was talking about silencing him. Abaddon in particular. They didn't call it murder, although Abaddon seemed to think it was the same as killing an enemy in war. That's when I brought with the Lodge. Did they say how it was to be done?
Torgden shook his head.
No. Just that it needed to be done. Won't be long before all this is out in the open,
promised Loken.
The Lodge doesn't move under a veil of secrecy anymore, and soon there'll be a reckoning.
Then what do we do? Loken looked away from his friend, at the high arch that led from the museum and into the Lupercal's court.
I don't know,
he said, waving Torgden to silence as he caught sight of a figure moving behind one of the furthest cabinets.
What's up? I'm not sure,
said Loken, moving between display cabinets of gleaming swords captured from an ancient feudal kingdom and strange alien weapons taken from the many species the Legion had destroyed. The figure he had seen was another Astartes, and Loken recognized the colors of the World Eaters upon his armor. Loken and Torgden rounded the corner of a tall, walnut-framed cabinet, seeing a scarred Astartes warrior peering intensely at an immense battle glaive that had been wrested from the hands of a Xenos Praetorian by the War Master himself.
Welcome to the Vengeful Spirit,
said Loken. The World Eater looked up from the weapon and turned to face them. His face was deeply bronzed, long and noble, contrasting with the bone white and blue of his Legion's colors.
Greetings,
he said, bringing his forearm across his armored chest in a martial salute.
Karn, 8th Assault Company of the World Eaters. Loken of the 10th,
replied Loken.
Torgden of the 2nd,
nodded Torgden.
Impressive this,
said Karn, looking around at him.
Thank you,
said Loken.
The War Master always believed we should remember our enemies. If we forget them, we shall never learn.
He pointed at the weapon Karn had been admiring.
We have the preserved corpse of the creature that carried this weapon somewhere around here. It's the size of a tank. Angron has his share of trophies too,
said Karn,
but only from foes that deserve to be remembered. Should we not remember them all? No,
said Karn firmly.
There is nothing to gain from knowing your enemy. The only thing that matters is they are to be destroyed. Everything else is just a distraction.
Spoken like a true World Eater, said Torgden. All right, Fake Bark, big love. Cheers for hanging out, appreciate ya. Karn looked up from the weapon with an amused sneer.
You seek to provoke me, Captain Torgden. But I already know what the other legions think of the World Eaters. We were on Arraius,
said Loken.
You are butchers.
Karn smiled.
Honesty is rare these days, Captain Loken. Yes, we are. And we are proud because we are good at it. My Primarch is not ashamed of what he does best, so neither am I.
I trust you're here for the Conclave? Asked Loken, wishing to change the subject.
Yes. I serve as my Primarch's equerry.
Torgidon raised an eyebrow.
Tough job. Sometimes,
admitted Khan.
Angron cares little for diplomacy.
The War Master believes it's important.
So I see. But all legions do things differently,
laughed Khan, clapping Loken on his shoulder guard.
As one honest man to another, your own legion has as many detractors as admirers. Too damn superior, the lot of you.
War Master has high standards, said Loken.
So does Angron, I assure you,
said Khan, and Loken was surprised to hear a note of wariness in Khan's voice.
The Emperor knew that sometimes the best course of action is to let the World Eaters do what we do best. The War Master knows it too. Otherwise, we would not be here. It may be distasteful to you, Captain, but if it were not for warriors like mine, the Great Crusade would have foundered long ago.
There we must agree to disagree, said Loken. I could not do what you do. Khan shook his head.
You're a warrior of the Astartes, Captain. If you had to kill every living thing in a city to ensure victory, you would do it. We must always be prepared to go further than our enemy. All the legions know it. The World Eaters just preach it openly.
Let us hope it never comes to that.
Do not pin too much on that hope. I hear tell that Isfahan 3 will be difficult to break.
What do you know of it? Asked Torgidon. Khan shrugged.
Nothing specific. Rumors, really. Something religious, they say. Witches, warlocks, skies turning red and monsters from the warp. All the usual hyperbole. Not that the sons of Horus would believe such things.
The galaxy's a complicated place, replied Loken carefully. We don't know the half of what goes on in it.
I'm beginning to wonder myself,
agreed Khan.
It's changing,
continued Loken.
The galaxy, and the Crusade with it.
Yes, said Khan with relish.
It is.
Loken was about to ask Khan what he meant when the doors to the Lupercal's court swung open.
Evidently the War Master's conclave will begin soon,
said Khan, bowing before them both.
It is time for me to rejoin my Primarch.
We must join the War Master, said Loken. Perhaps we will see you on Isfahan 3.
Perhaps,
nodded Khan, walking off between the spoils of 100 wars.
If there's anything left of Isfahan 3 when the World Eaters finish with it.
There we go. The end of chapter 2. So we'll leave it there for tonight. We can have a chat. We can have a chat about it, can't we? Ho 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 ho! Things are certainly in motion. Realizations are coming to the fore. And we've met some new characters. Fulgrim, one of Horus's brothers, was fleshed out a little bit more. We rejoined, we met up again with Saul Tarvitz, Lucius, and Commander Eidolon of the Emperor's Children. We also saw Rylanor, the Ancient, who's a fucking dreadnought, basically. So what a dreadnought is when a very worthy, high-ranking, talented space marine, or Astartes, is mortally wounded in battle, their body, while they're still clinging on to life, their body can be installed into what's called a dreadnought, which is a massive like mech, basically. Not massive as in like Titan size or anything. It's like bigger than a space marine, basically. And their body, basically, so their legs are removed and their body is implanted into this dreadnought. And the part of the dreadnought where their body is in is called the sarcophagus. And it's basically a life support machine. It's an armored life support machine with legs and massive weapons on its arms. So that even if you are mortally wounded and you are going to die, you can still fight on in the name of the Emperor. And the oldest space marines in existence are dreadnoughts. Like the oldest space marines that are alive are in dreadnoughts. There's one in current day Warhammer, in Warhammer 40,000, called, oh shit, is he still alive or is he dead actually? Is Jeski's fella still here? He'll know. Actually, Snow might know as well. Is Bjorn the Fell-Handed still alive? Snow. Do you know if Bjorn the Fell-Handed's still alive? Or is Wash still here? Snow or Wash might know this. But I'm pretty sure if Bjorn the Fell-Handed is still alive in Warhammer 40k, he is the oldest living space marine. If you can call it living. Pretty sure he's alive, yeah. He's like thousands of years old. I know the oldest space marine who's alive that isn't a dreadnought is Commander Dante of the Blood Angels, isn't he? He's like 1,500 years old. And all he wants to do is die.
Well, yeah. They're like...
big fucking... It's like... best thing I can compare it to is like Ed 209 out of fucking RoboCop. Think Ed 209 out of RoboCop. That's kind of like what a dreadnought is. Bjorn would be over 10,000 years old. Yeah, I knew he was fucking thousands of years old. I think he's the oldest one. I think he's the current oldest space marine that's kind of alive.
Snow, he fights in the Heresy. Oh, well, yeah. Then Bjorn's the oldest then.
100%. He's the oldest. He's the oldest space marine. Even though he's a dreadnought, but still, he's still a space marine and he's still a Astartes. But yeah, we met Rylanor the Ancient. So he's a dreadnought. So he was there. So was Apothecary Fabius. He was there as well. If you remember, Fabius was the one who took the anatheme from Vadon, the Sons of Horus Apothecary, on the orders of the War Master.
Kingstone. There are Space Marines and Dark Angels from the Heresy. Oh, there is, isn't there? There's the Fallen. The
Dark Angels, yeah, there is. But that's kind of warp shenanigans, though, isn't it? There's kind of warp shenanigans going on with them. Because time isn't a real thing in the warp, innit? So you can be in the warp for like 10,000 years and not really age. Because it isn't. Do you know what I mean?
You all got spat out at different times. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's like everything's all at once, isn't it, in the warp? Like, everything is all at the same time. Even though, like, if something exists in the warp, it's always existed. Even at the point of when it exists, it's always existed. Because it's well confusing. Like Slanesh is the youngest Chaos God. But Slanesh has always existed, even though there was a point when Slanesh was born. Because it's the warp. She's always existed. Like, even though she hasn't always existed. Fucking mental, innit? But yeah, we've met some new characters. Not met, but they were there. Like Rylanor was there. Fulgrim got a bit more fleshed out. Mortarion was mentioned. The Primarch of the Death Guard. That's the first time they've even been mentioned, I think. Maybe might have been mentioned in a passing comment from Horus. Like in an earlier book. But, yeah. And obviously we just met Khan. Properly. Now Khan was mentioned at the end of the last book. Like, he was literally there for, like, a minute. But now we've actually met him. So, new characters are coming in now. Because, like, now it's starting to spread out. So, yeah. So, the War Master seems to be corralling forces at Isvan 3. 4 legions. 4 legions. That's mental. 4 legions for one planet. Is crazy. Crazy work. Oh, wait. Cecil. These are all guys he wants dead, right?
Don't know. Well, Fulgrim is the Primarch of the Emperor's Legion, and he already said that Fulgrim's on side. He's got Fulgrim on side with him. He said Fulgrim and Lorgar are already on side. Because if you remember at the end of the last book, he said that he'd sent Gilliman and the Ultramarines to the Calth system, and then he'd sent Lorgar to go and ambush them. And he said Fulgrim and Lorgar are already on side. So the legions that he's got assembled here are his legion, the Sons of Horus, the World Eaters, Angron's legion, the Death Guard, Mortarion's legion, and a portion of the Emperor's children, but Fulgrim isn't with them. If you remember. Because Fulgrim said that he's going to split his legion, the Emperor's children, and half of them are going to go to Isvan 3 to meet up with Horus and the Death Guard and the World Eaters, and Fulgrim's going to take the other half and go and meet up with Ferrus Manus and the Iron Hands.
Is that legions as in the actual number of people? No, each. So in Warhammer, the Space Marine legions, the Astartes legions were so each Primarch has his own legion. So it's like his army, basically. And it's not the number of people, because like they all have different amounts in. Like the word bearers have an insane amount. So do the Emperor's Children, and so do the Emperor's Children didn't have that many, did they? But the Ultramarines do. The Ultramarines and word bearers have an insane amount of Marines. But the Legion just means that Primarch's army. So the Sons of Horus, the Lunar Wolves, that's Horus's Legion. The Emperor's Children are Fulgrim's Legion. It's just like the name for their army, basically. But each one has varying amounts. Like so you can imagine though the amount of Space Marines that have been like assembled here for one planet is mental. Like just what, like it wouldn't even take one Space Marine Legion to smash a planet to bits. Like, and there's 4, well, 3.5. Some have less because a lot died. Yeah. Yeah. So Nossa, what it is it's just like the Astartes like legions and stuff. It's very like based on like ancient Rome, kind of, if you know what I mean. Like that kind of vibe. But they don't go off the actual numerical units and shit. Yeah, they vary from like 10,000 to 250,000 each legion. Just depends which legion. I know the word bearers have like a crazy amount. I think they had the most at one point or some shit like that. And the Ultramarines have a lot as well, because they don't just have a home world. They have like their own little pocket empire. By the time the Emperor found Gilliman, he'd like created his own little empire in an entire system. So they've got loads of home worlds to collect the tithe from. Bro packed Primarch. Primani, mate. So yeah. So anyone who doesn't know like what happens, I want to know what you think is going to happen, what you think is happening here. Like, what's the plan here? Because it's obviously Horus's plan, because he's the one who's made this happen. But what is it? Like, what do you think he's planning here? Because that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of Astartes to muster at one planet. That's a lot of Astartes to muster in one system. Like, never mind the planet. But I do want to know what you're thinking. Just gonna go for a quick wee while you write your thoughts down.
Oh, right. Okay, what's Cecil saying here? Let's see what Cecil's saying. It has to be either planning the war against the Emperor or there's something there they need for it, and having this many, along with the fact that this place definitely isn't actually rebelling, it will be over in minutes. They don't want to be reducing their numbers massively just before trying to overthrow the fucking Emperor himself. Interesting. Interesting. What do you think it could be? What do you think it could be if they need something there? What do you think that could be? Like, any ideas on what that could be? There's definitely something here, isn't there? Obviously, something's going down here. Because like I said, that's an insane amount of Astartes, even for a system, let alone one planet. Because if you remember at the end of the last book, he said, what did he say? What did he say at the end of the last book? He said something about... He said something about his fan. Let me see if I can find the last book. Said something about, because he was saying that his plan was to send Gilliman to Calth and get Lorgar to ambush him or attack him or some shit. Cecil says, I think it's a person, I don't know who, but I reckon there's someone important they need. Let's see what he said. He might have said more. I can't remember. Right, so this is what Horus said at the end of the last book. In the meantime, I have dispatched mobilization orders to those legions I do not believe we can sway. The Ultramarines will muster at Calth to be attacked by Corpheron of the Wordbearers, and the Blood Angels have been sent to the Cygnus cluster, where Sanguinius shall be mired in blood. Then we will make a swift, decisive stroke on Terra. And then Regulus said, that still leaves other legions. I know, answered Horus, but I have a plan that will remove them as a threat to us once and for all. I will lure them into a trap from which none will escape. I will set the Emperor's Imperium ablaze, and from the ashes will arise a new master of mankind. Malagurst says, where will you set this trap? Horus says, a place not far from here. The Istvan system. It's a trap. It's a trap. But for who? So he's setting a trap here for the legions he thinks he cannot sway. That's what he's saying. So we've got half of the Emperor's children. The World Eaters and the Death Guard. Now, if you remember, Fulgrim's on side. He's already said that. Horus has already said Fulgrim's on side. So Fulgrim's only sent half his legion. Fulgrim's not there. Fulgrim's gone to speak with Ferrus Manus, the Primarch of the Iron Hands. gonna meet him. So what is going on here? Well, we don't know. All we know is it's a trap. All we know is it's a trap. Horus is trying to remove pieces off the board, basically. That's effectively what he was saying, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Owen says, Cecil says, Fulgrim has sent the people he thinks wouldn't be on side to die. Very interesting. Very interesting. Snow, in the great words of Admiral Akbar, it's a trap! This is a hell of a book, by the way. Just to let you know. A hell of a fucking book, this. Cecil, this is bad, man. I like all the shit that's going on with Kirill. Cecil, this is gonna be fucked from start to finish, I just know. Snow, what's crazy is it only keeps ramping up. This is only the start. Yeah, I know. Very true. Very true. Fucking... Oh, God. I have to be careful. Because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I genuinely don't want to spoil it for anyone, so... You know what I mean? It's so good. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. You gotta love this book. Cecil, I'm really intrigued to see how accurate my prediction from the end of the last book is. What was it you said now? What was it you said now? Because I remember you saying it, but I can't remember what you fucking said exactly. What was it you said, Cecil? Snow, I'm also trying to be very careful. They need to experience it with nothing. I know. It's fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. Like, this is such an amazing... Like, for me, reading this to people who have no idea what happens is such an amazing experience. Like... That's why I'm always like, what do you think's happening? What do you think's gonna happen? Like, because I just want to know. Like, I really want to know, because I never got that. Like, I never had that experience. Do you know what I mean? We've talked about it before. Like, I never got to experience it that way. Like, so this is fucking brilliant. I want to see how the machinations are working for people who have no idea what the story is. It's fucking brilliant. Cecil, long story short, I said that Horus is going to take the war to the Emperor and both of them will die. We will see. We will see what happens. 72 books down the line. I'm not reading 72 fucking books, dude. Like... No, yeah, it's so good, isn't it? It's so good. It's so good. Like, seeing people experience the story, like, just as it is, without the codex and stuff. Because, yeah, like we've said before, haven't we? Like, we knew what the story was because the codexes, which are like the army books, you know, with all the rules for the actual armies, they came like early 90s. So it was like, there was little bits of blurb, like basically telling you the story. Like, so
it was like you always knew what the story was, just not like as fleshed out as these books. Because when did these books come out? It was like, when was it? When the fuck was it? This is the third book. When did this come out? When did this come out? 2006. 2006, this book, and this is the third one. Oh, there's so much stuff to come though. There's so much stuff to come. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how much shit actually happens. It's fucking wild. Because like I've said before, this is something that spans an entire galaxy. You know what I mean? Martin, I've enjoyed it that bit more, being able to read along. Good. Yeah, I think it's always nice, like, reading along with something. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes, obviously, I don't know, maybe the voice that I'm doing doesn't, like, convey the words that are actually being said or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Or sometimes I might miss some words, like when I'm reading, because I'm like reading like a line ahead most of the time, like with my eyes, and then saying it, like, do you know what I mean? I'm like trying to do two things at once, so I know how the line is supposed to be delivered, like, sort of. Which is sometimes why I like stumble over my words, because I'm like, oh fuck, I've like nearly read the line that I've not got to yet. Like, but yeah, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the story and stuff. It's good. I'm glad Torgadon finally turned up. No sign of Vipus though. Where's Nero at? Where's Egon? Snow, are you gonna try and find a core path through the books after this? Yeah, probably. I'll probably, like, I'll do a bit more research into it and like find the main books that are necessary for when you get towards the end, if you know what I mean. So when we get towards the end, there isn't shit where we're just like, who the fuck's that? Like, why is it acting like we know this guy or this event that happened? Like, do you know what I mean? No, because I really want to see the final trilogy. Yeah, we got to get there, aren't we? Like, we've got to get there. We have to get there. I want to try and find a path, the path of least resistance. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not reading like fucking 28 books or whatever. Like, try and get through it a short path, if you know what I mean. I think that would be more prudent, because otherwise I'd be reading these books until I'm like 50. So. Martin, Horus said, "Good night, Fate back." Wait, what the fuck? Am I on the right page? I always try, like, if I'm trying to like greet someone or say goodbye or whatever, like, I always try to do it like when I've got to like at the end of a paragraph or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, or at least like the end of a sentence that isn't directly going into the next one. King Snow, so we're not doing heresy book readings for the next 10 years. No, fucking hell. But yeah, I do want to get to the end, but I need to find the path of least resistance. You know what I mean?
Because obviously, if we do like we don't want it like people to get bored with the non, not bored, but like, you know what I mean? When you're reading a series, like a story that goes through, and then you're reading a book and it has absolutely no bearing on like what it is that you've been reading. Like, I don't want to read those books. You know, just like the side stories. I can't be asked doing that. Too much. Too many books.
Martin, I'm old though, mate. Full consideration needed.
Sorry, man. I can't get that with. Oh. Gotta get those last dregs out, haven't I? Oh, bloody hell. Well, as you can probably see, I'm gonna have to take this fucking hat off, dude. Like, I'm sweating to fuck. It's so hot in here. Because obviously I've got like the little lights on and that. Otherwise I'd be sat here in darkness. But I'm fucking sweating like shit.
No, the only side stories from the Heresy I've fully read through are the Dark Angel ones and then some other random books throughout. Yeah.
So the ones that I want to avoid are the ones that aren't massively important to the main story. I just want to read the books that have the major characters and events in, so that when we do get towards the end, you know who some of the characters are, and they're not just like characters that you like can't connect with because you don't know who the fuck they are. Do you know what I mean? Then you got characters referencing things that happened, and we're just like, when did that happen? Do you know what I mean?
But
I'll have a proper look into it, do a proper bit of research into it, figure it out. Because we do have to read the end of how it all turns out. You know what I mean? Because it's so good.
right, guys, I am gonna love you and leave you,
but I will be on tomorrow at 6:30 for some more toilet reviews. Silent Hill toilet reviews. See if we can get James off the old skag. I mean, at least that woman won't be accosting him anymore. Do you know what I mean? Trying to bang him. Like that's I think those days are over since she got fucking shish kebabbed in the elevator by fucking Triangle Face.
Well, yeah, I'll be back on at 6:30. Well, you know me, I always say 6:30 or there or thereabouts.
I like to make an entrance, don't I? I'm not late. I'm just making an entrance. But yeah, I'll be back on. Snow, if an Astartes can survive an impaling, she might. I don't know. It looked pretty fucking brutal, didn't it? Remember? Fucking bang! She got fucked, didn't she? Jesus Christ. We'll find out, I guess. I mean, it's Silent Hill. Anything can happen, can't it? Like, Jesus. Got a man taking heroin and reviewing toilets for the entire game. That's the point of the game for me. You do realise that, don't you? That is why I'm playing it. Just to review every single toilet. I don't often get to review toilets in games. There's not many games that have toilets.
But we'll find some more toilets tomorrow. The world is our toilet.
Review. Thursdays at 6:30. Right, guys, I'm gonna bounce. I will speak to you all in the Discord. If you're new to the channel and you haven't joined our Discord, please do join our Discord. I've dropped the Discord link in the chat. We have got the best community on the internet. Bar none. Everybody is so fucking wonderful and lovely. So click that link, join our Discord, introduce yourself, make some new friends, and get chatting, because we've got people from all over the world in there. So there's always someone chatting away. And everyone's super cool, so you'd be absolutely welcome. So I will speak to you in the Discord. I will see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. ish. 6:30 p.m. ish, and we'll review some toilets. Right, massive love, everyone. Really appreciate you hanging out with me tonight and sharing this book and sharing this entire experience with me. You guys are the best. But I will see you tomorrow. Peace and fucking love, you beautiful queechlings. Mwah. Good night.